All right, hello. So today's coverage is biasing of MOSFETs. Okay, so as a review, okay, we have these. We've discussed, no, and derived the drain current of a MOSFET. No, so for example, we have these for cutoff, no. So kapag cutoff kasi, yung VTH natin, no, the VGS rather is less than the VTH. What does this mean? Is we don't have uh, an inversion channel. Okay? So kung wala tayong inversion channel, then there's no way for current to flow. No, which means our model says that all of the currents are zero, or rather that our MOSFET is off. No, in easy terms, right? Next is we have the saturation mode wherein our channel exists, no? So this one says that our channel exists and that the drain to source voltage, no, is greater than some value. No, it doesn't matter that it's VGS minus VTH at the moment. That's just the specific value. But what matters, no, what I want you to look at is the fact that VDS has to be greater than some value for this to be for saturation to happen, no? Which means this is kind of the stage at which the MOSFET has breathing room to be able to actually do its job. And in this mode, actually, we consider it amplifying because of this square term, no? So it amplifies the VGS into an ID over a quadratic manner. So this is what we refer to as the active mode of the MOSFET, no? It's called saturation, but in more common terms, you would actually call it active here, no? Just like the BJT forward active. Next, we have the linear slash triode mode. Triode is an alternative term for it, though triode comes from yung predecessor ng MOSFET natin as a circuit. So this is when we have a channel, but there's not enough voltage across the drain and source, no, to actually continue the amplifying mode of operation, no, wherein you can observe mawawala yung square term natin, and we refer to this as kulang na yung voltage across the MOSFET, or you can say ipit siya or choke siya, no. But the point is, no, in linear mode walang amplification yung current, no. It's more of a nonlinear resistance kasi you have something multiplied with VDS, di ba? So, yeah. So, when we discussed the MOSFET, no, we covered this last week, Thursday, no? The MOSFET, when we use it as an amplifier, we take advantage of the transconductance gain. Ano ba yung transconductance gain? Di ba sa MOSFET, we transform the Vin into an ID current, no? Just like the BJT transconductance effect, we transform a VDE into an IC current, no? This is a spooky action wherein the voltage at one side causes a current on another side that's not related to it, no? So when this happens, we have this equation, right? And we know it's amplifying because it's a square term. It's not just linear, which means it would be resistive, right? So since it's amplifying that into a current, we can easily transform this current into a voltage, no, using a resistor, and then get a V out of it, no, by just connecting this simple circuit where we have a drain resistor RD, no. So when we transform this current into a voltage, no, then we can get a relationship between V out and V in that's amplifying. We can see here V in squared leads to V out. So in a sense, no, we're saying that V out is proportional to V in squared, no? That's negative. So proportional to pa din yan, no? Even though it's negative. Because the one that we don't want is it fits inversely proportional, that is 1 over V in, no? So this is amplifying. It's just inverting as well, right? So when we analyze the gain for this, no? Since we're saying it's amplifying, again, we can differentiate the transfer function, or most of the time equation yung nakukuha natin sa function kapag isolated yung V out and V in, no? We can get the gain by differentiating, no? Kasi if this is V out, then we just get the derivative of V out with respect to V in. How much does V out change with respect to a small change in V in to get the gain? And it turns out to be calculated in this manner, no? So magiging ganito siya. Now, we will discuss how, or you'll see a little bit of the math. I implore you to do it yourself, no? But the math will turn out to be negative RD times 2 times square root of KID, no? So we find that the gain of the MOSFET actually increases with an increase in RD, and it increases also a little bit with an increase in ID, but it's square root proportional. So you have diminishing gains, no, for increasing ID for the common source amplifier, no? But here we confirm that it is actually amplifying kasi meron tayong gain, no? Meron tayong non-zero gain, right? Okay. So with that, no, since we know that there's going to be a gain, tas alam natin na ito yung transfer curve ng common source amplifier, right? We've seen this before. We've done this for the BJTs, no? This is the saturation region, no? It's the saturation region. This is the linear region. This is the cutoff region, right? So we can identify these places, no, for V out, the V out and V in transfer curve, no? And we know where we want to be. We want to be at the region with high slope so that we can have amplification, diba? So if we want to have amplification, then of course, right, we would more appreciate it if we are at Q point E than Q point P, right? Because after we solve the transfer curve, no, we want to choose a suitable Q point. And a suitable Q point, sorry, baliktad to. So E is better than D, no? A suitable Q point maximizes the output swing and also the gain, no? So for example, dito sa E, pwedeng umakyat pa ganun yung output signal mo, as opposed sa D, clip na siya. So to get a non-distorted output signal, you can only make it so large, right? So that's why we need biasing. Then this is the Q point versus the load line, no? So if we want to have proper biasing, no, we want to see how parameters of our circuit affect the operating point, no? So that we can choose kung ano yung exact values ng mga circuit components natin such that we can get to a specific operating point. So for example, here's a load line, no? So this load line plot shows the constraints of the resistor versus the constraints of the transistor. That's a load line plot. Again, ito yung constraint ni resistor. This is described by VDD minus IDRD, right? And the constraints of the transistor, which is yung blue lines, which is described by the square law and the linear region ID equation, right? So with the load line plot, no, we can easily tell the mode of the circuit by looking at the plot. No? So for example, here at point Q, no, we are deep in saturation, so we're fine, right? And then at point B, no, after we increase V in, which is VGS, no, a little bit, then we raise the constraint of the transistor. We raise the characteristic curve of the transistor kasi nga this is the ID equals Kn VGS minus VTH squared over 2 na equation, no? So if we increase VGS, aakyat yan, no? And habang umaakyat siya, eventually, no, yung solution natin for the circuit, yung V out natin, no, yung quiescent point natin will eventually reach linear, no? So at C, masyado na mataas yung VGS natin to ever get to saturation, no? So it's linear region na nun, which we don't want because it doesn't have a lot of gain, right? So when we bias our circuit to get to a specific spot, no, mostly typically saturation and at half of VDD para makakapag-swing tayo, then we can typically use a voltage source. This is what we've been using so far. Diba? Sinisweep natin si V in to get V out. No? But this method has drawbacks. No? One obvious drawback of it is paano ipapasok yung input signal? Right? Here, the input signal must be capacitively coupled to the gate like this. Right? And capacitive coupling has significant limits. For one, malaki yung capacitors na kailangan sometimes. And it also limits your bandwidth, no? But you'll see this in topic 9. There's also the other thing wherein V-bias is another input to the circuit, no? Gumamit ka na ba ng LM741 or ng op-amp na kinailangan niyang magbigay, sinabi niya, kailangan mo magbigay ng exactly 0.7 doon sa input? No. Right? Hindi ka binigyan ng exactly ganun doon sa input. Hindi natin gusto na kailangan natin mag-provide ng exact value, no, for the circuit, because that's an extra input. It makes it hard to use the circuit, no? So most of the time we want a standalone bias, no? So for example, here we have the voltage divider, which is similar to the one for BJT, no, kung saan ginamit natin yung Thevenin equivalent to solve for the VDE, no? For this one, what mathematical problem variable equation are you trying to solve? Sorry. Okay. So for this one, we have instead, no, wala tayong current, no? IG equals 0 because that's it for a MOSFET. It has an oxide layer in between. So wala talagang gate current. So since that's the case, then this simplifies into a voltage divider lang. Or literally, yung voltage divider lang yung input natin, which is perfect. No? So we have RG2 over RG1 plus RG2. That's a voltage division for this voltage right here. And also, unlike a voltage source, we don't need a V-bias input anymore. Meron na tayong magandang bias without having to provide a bias voltage. No, we can just capacitively couple the input now. No, pero this case has drawbacks as well. So ano ba yung drawbacks? For one, no, RG1 and R2 have significant power consumption. It in fact has a current of RVDD over RG1 over plus RG2, right? Dito sa circuit na to, no? And that continues consuming power forever, right? So because of that, you'd want na mataas si RG1 at saka si RG2, right? Pero as you see much later on as well, you don't want them to be very high either. Okay. Next, we also have that the input signal actually voltage divides into RG1 parallel RG2. No? You'll see this once we discuss small signal. But this significantly reduces the size of the input signal via voltage division once we cascade our amplifiers. Another thing as well is that if you just have a voltage divider, no, the biasing is very sensitive. Like if you remember from the BJT case, we are very vigilant against the variations in the device parameters. In the case of the BJT, it was against beta, right? So we didn't want variations in beta. For the MOSFET case, our only device parameters is the KN and the VTH, sometimes the lambda, but the lambda barely affects us. What affects us the most really is KN and VTH, and most of the time it's VTH, no? So if there's parameter variations, diba? The Q point changes. For example, here, device 1 versus device 2, this is the ID versus VGS curve, no? So this is quadratic. This ID equals KN VGS minus VTH squared, no? That's those quadratics. Then once the Q point changes, the output can start clipping or fall out of saturation. Kasi nga, we've seen that kanina. Diba? A small a change in the ID curve, no, will be able to put us out of saturation, or at worst, then we can or sometimes make us clip, right? So ayun, no, a slight change in Kn can show a large difference in ID1 versus ID2, and this is also true for VTH, no? So for here, to solve this, no, just like in the BJT case, you may remember, we use an emitter degenerate resistor. For here, we use a source degenerate resistor, no, which is called with source stabilized biasing. So, like in the BJT case, we add a resistor to reduce VGS kapag umaakyat si ID. No? So, we have here, kapag umaakyat si ID, then tataas yung voltage across here, which would reduce the total VGS. Diba? So, it's quite a simple thing to think of, but the analysis will take quite a lot once we get to feedback. Pero, for an elementary analysis, no, we have here that the VGS is VG minus IDRS, yes. And then ID is this now, no? So ngayon, we want to see, okay, how much will ID change with respect to Kn or VTH, no? Actually, we'll see how much it changes with respect to VTH. And you see here, this equation is actually an equation of ID in two places, no? Hindi siya isa lang. And it's possible, while it's possible to isolate ID here, it's much, hindi ganun ka-useful yung closed form solution niya. Because what we want to see is kung sensitive pa siya. So, if we want to show that this is more stable than before, we can just take the implicit derivative with respect to VTH. No? So, if you don't know what implicit differentiation is, you should read up on it because this is that is supposed to be discussed in a calculus class. Pero, no? Ayun nga, again, it's possible to isolate ID here using the quadratic formula, but it doesn't make the stability any more obvious. And we want intuition in engineering. We don't want precision in mathematics, no? So here, no, we take the derivative versus VTH because it causes the most variation. So in the original circuit na walang RS, no, eto, yung differential natin with respect to VTH, it's negative 2 square root of Kn ID, no? So if the math is unclear to you, I implore you to try it yourself, no? So in the new circuit, if we use implicit differentiation, then ang mangyayari is you take the derivative of ID with respect to VTH on the left side and also on the right side, tapos i-distribute mo siya and you treat ID as a function of VTH pa din, and then you use chain rule and product rule to get this, no? So, what did we show? The derivative with respect to VTH of ID with the source stabilization, we divided it's almost exactly the same, but we have a factor of 1 plus 2 RS square root of Kn ID, no? That's a significant reduction factor, right? This looks like the gain. So you reduce your sensitivity to VTH by about as much as the gain of the MOSFET, which is a lot. No, this is going to be about 30 or 40. No, so for example, so to get us used to source stabilized voltage divider setups, then okay, we have this exercise. The NMOS transistor has VTH equals 1 volt and Kn equals 2 milliamps over V squared. No, if we want to determine the required V value of R1 so that the operating point is ID equals 2 milliamps, then we can easily do that. No, so from before we can use an ID in saturation, which is this, and then we can solve for the gate voltage, no? So if we solve for the gate voltage, this is going to be that. So it's going to be -5, no? So ito, plus the voltage across here, which is going to be 10K over 10K plus R1 times 10, no? Kasi 10 yung overall difference nito, no? To get VG, right? So once we solve for VG, we equate we replace VG in the ID equation, and then we equate that to 2 milliamps, and then shift solve to get R1. Okay. So once we do that, we can get R1. Okay. Of course, we also need to substitute 2 milliamps into ID here. Okay? So, yeah, no? So we can get R1. Okay? We can validate the operating mode of the transistor by just doing this. No? So we have 5 minus 8 times 2 milliamps. No? So we get 5 minus 4 equals 1. And that's the voltage here. No? And then the voltage here would be 2 milliamps times 1 kilo ohm plus negative 5. No? So this is 2 minus 5, that's negative 3. Okay? So it's negative 3. This is, so this V out quiescent, which would be 1. No? So this is 1 minus negative 3. That's 4 yung VDS natin. No? But yung VGS natin here would be this minus negative 3. Okay? So ano ba yung makukuha natin dyan? VG equals, kailangan ko muna ng calculus. So, minus 5 plus 10K over 10K plus 12.65K times 10. Okay? So VG is negative 0.58. No? And then we subtract that with negative 3. No? So this is minus negative 3. So then VGS is equal to negative 2.41. Positive 2.41. No? And here we see that 4 is still greater than 2.41 minus VTH, which is 1. No? So 1.41 yung over voltage natin, 4 is definitely much greater than that. So we see that this transistor is still in saturation. Okay? So tama yung ginawa natin. Okay. So moving on, now we have the third type of biasing to discuss. We have the drain to gate biasing, which is simpler than the voltage bias. No? So ito, V out is explicitly equal to the gate voltage. No? So we can see here, RG has zero current across it. So parehas lang yung VDS natin sa VGS. No? So unlike BJT, IG equals 0, simplified yung analysis, which means VGS is V out or VDS. No? And this one is very stable. If we increase ID, we decrease VDS, we decrease VGS, and so on. No? So we decrease VGS and we decrease ID. No? So an increase in ID that's unintended will decrease VGS, then decrease VGS, which also decreases ID. So this is going to be stable. No? And I would recommend that you also try to differentiate with respect to V out. No? But the drawbacks for this one, high ID now wants lower RD. No? Kasi, for example, di ba? Kung gusto mo na mataas yung ID, no? Then you want na mataas ito. Right? Kaso, kung mataas yun, then kailangan mataas to because those are the same voltage. Kung gusto mo mataas to, dapat mababa yung RD because this is VDD minus RD ID. No? But wait. If you want a higher, if you want a high gain, no, which is equal to RD 2 square root of KID, you need a high RD, no? So medyo conflicting na yung intentions ng circuit, no? And this one would lead to not a very high gain in the first place, no? Additionally, RG introduces a non-zero small signal current in the input, no? So for example, kung ito yung input mo, Vin, no? Once we start analyzing small signals, kapag nag-oscillate na yung mga yan, merong nag-oscillate dito sa Vout. And of course, RG will now conduct a phasor current through itself na hindi naman pwedeng pumasok dito kasi gate yan, no? So saan pupunta yung phasor current na yun? Pabalik sa Vin, no? And sometimes the reason we use MOSFETs in the first place is because we don't want to deal with any current in the input, no? So that's a drawback, no? So more on that later. We'll see an analysis that shows that, no? So fourth type of biasing, which is really, really strong, no, is the current mirror. And you've seen this in the LM741, no? So this is the most commonly used biasing type. Again, you've seen this in the LM741 before. In a current mirror, no, yung Q2 natin copies Q1, basically. Yun lang, no? So yung IREF natin dito is the same as this, no? If it's working as a mirror, no? So kung pareha sila ng KN at VTH, then ID1 equals ID2 equals IREF, no? So if they have the same KN and VTH. But if they have different transconductances but same VTH, then ito yung mangyayari, no? ID2 over ID1 equals KN2 over KN1. Okay? And this is particularly useful for us because of this, no? So, assuming that Q1 is always in saturation, no? Well, okay, Q1 is always in saturation, no? It's not an assumption because you'll see here, no? VDS1 is always going to be greater than VDS1 minus something, right? So if Q2 is in saturation, no, that's a condition. We don't know that because we don't know the voltage here. If Q2 is in saturation, then ito yung equation niya. And then for ID1, ito yung equation. Then ID2 over ID1, dividing both, no? Divide this by this to get this. Then you get KN2 over KN1, no? And the useful thing about this is this simplifies kung parehas yung mu and Cox, which is should be true kung parehas sila ng ng silicon, 'di ba? Parehas sila ng location in the silicon, no? Most of the time mu and Cox will always be the same. Then you get this width over length, yung difference nila, no? So the ratio between ID2 and ID1 is width 2 width 2 over L2 divided by width 1 over L1, no? And this is very useful kung gusto mong gumawa ng any arbitrary range of currents, no? So kung gusto ko, for example, I want 2 IREF here, then I set the length to be the same, no? So length equals 1, for example, and then I just set, okay, I want width 2 here, and then width equals 1 here. And via this equation, I can show that ID2 has to be 2 times ID1, right? So this is the most useful thing about the current mirror, and this is why you see it everywhere. Okay? So usually nga, we vary W to get the desired current ratios. No? So it's not really, so it mirrors the current, but also multiplies it by the factor between the widths. No? Typically, length, we don't touch that. Okay? So, for the case, kapag may channel length modulation tayo, it actually really barely affects it. So, ang mangyayari lang is magkakaroon ka ng 1 plus lambda na term. No? And itong 1 plus lambda na term, it doesn't really matter for VDS, for Q1. No? Kasi current yung pasok sa kanya. No? Pero, if you have it for VDS2, tas may nag-oscillate na current dito, no? You see why there could be an oscillating voltage or current here, no? So meron kang V out na nag-oscillate dyan. Then VDS2 can oscillate and also the ID can oscillate, no? Yung ID2 can also oscillate because of the oscillating V out, no? Kasi nga merong dependency dito. So ano mangyayari in that case? Well, the this thing kind of looks like a resistor in small signal, but we'll analyze that later on. Okay, so with that ends our biasing methods for the CS amplifiers.